Anchors up, sells it full. Welcome to the SlooPcast. How are you doing today, Kyle?
Doing pretty well. Week 4 of the SlooPicks is here. Ready to dive right into it. How are you doing?
In college football, but yeah, more importantly, the SlooPicks.
Yes. Week 4 of college football, because we don't count week 0.
Well, no, you don't count 0. You can't count. I mean, if you wanted to count 0, you can't count 0. It's literally uncountable.
It is, yeah. All right. SlooPicks. we are going to be picking the Vegas lines as of when CBS closes them.
In our pick'em.
I think it was Monday night, sometime around there.
Sometime Monday.
Set them up. Yep, they set them. We picked 7 games. You can listen to our Ohio State pick in our previous episode where we picked them at 39.5. I think that's moved up. If you looked today or when we're recording this, it's at 40.5, but we picked it at 39.5. So if you hear some numbers that's not quite the right numbers, well, take it up on CBS. So let's jump right into it. Friday night. I hate Friday night games. They belong to high school here, but here we are. Friday night, Illinois taking on the Cornhuskers of Nebraska. Both undefeated teams, 3-0 coming in.
The Illini. Look at you. Yeah. Look at you, Illini.
Oh, look at you, Nebraska.
Nebraska had some preseason hype.
They did. Both
Illinois did not.
Both teams are ranked here. We got a rank on rank matchup, so this cannot be one of our chaos theory picks, Jared.
No, it cannot.
Yep. So Nebraska is at home an 8.5 point favorite. Again, Friday night, 8:00 on Fox. I think this will be a good one. I think this is going to be a really good game. I'll just kick us off here.
All right.
I think this is going to be a really good game. I think this is going to be a close game. I think Illinois, even though there's a lot of hype with Nebraska, deservingly so. I can talk, but I like Illinois here and what they've done so far. So if you're saying 8.5 for this game here, actually the lines dropped down as we're recording to 7.5, but we're picking 8.5 here. I like the Fighting Illini in this one here. Their defense has been pretty stingy here. Again, they've taken care of business of teams that they should take care of business, but their defense has been pretty stingy here. And I like this to be a closer game here. So I'll take Illinois to cover.
I agree. I had a really good first 2 weeks in the SlooPicks, sort of following one of my rules, which was like default to the underdog. Week 3, I kind of got a little too confident and went a little outside of the system, and I paid for it. Still did better than Kyle.
Week 3 was terrible for all of us.
Still did better than Kyle. But yeah, I'm going to go back to defaulting to the underdog a little bit. We're all very high on Nebraska right now. Awesome. They deserve at least some of it, but this is still a team led by a true freshman. And while I like Nebraska, I don't like Nebraska that much. And aside from the tiebreaker being that Illinois, I'm getting 8.5 points on, which is a good number. I like 8.5. You're also getting most of the bets coming in on Nebraska right now, which is going to push me a little bit further to Illinois, going against the crowd a bit. I'm going to go Illinois as well. Kyle, who is our guest picker and who do they pick?
Yeah, we got Z Spikes guest picker for this week here. So he has here at 3-0, Bert as the Fighting Illini, rolling in, including a top 25 victory over Kansas. But now they enter the meat of their schedule with their first road game of the season in Lincoln Friday night. Both teams will lean on their defense in this conference opener. So expect a low-scoring game on a short week. I expect Nebraska to pull out the W, but only by 1 score. So I'm taking Illini with the points.
There you go. And I think the short week is also even a bit more problematic for a freshman quarterback who might need the practice reps a little bit more and who might be missing out on some practice reps. So I think that's a good point that from Spikes. The short week will, I think, affect Nebraska more than it will Illinois.
Yep. All right. Game two. Game two, we have Clemson and North Carolina State. This game is being played in South Carolina, and it is a nooner alongside the Ohio State and Marshall game, which you can, again, listen to yesterday's episode if you want to hear more about that. But we're talking about Clemson and North Carolina State, where Clemson is a 16.5 point favorite over NC State. What do you got in this one, Jared?
In this one, I'm going to go NC State. I don't like Clemson enough right now to pick them minus 16 against much of anyone. Much of anyone in the Power 5 at least, right? Like if it was, I think like every team in North Carolina is at least somewhat good, right? I couldn't think of a bad North Carolina team off the top of my head. Charlotte, there, I'll pick Charlotte. Maybe if they're playing Charlotte instead of NC State, but NC State isn't a team I love this year. It's not even a team I really even like this year. But 16 points against a Clemson team that is at best mid, a team that everyone should be just going, well, this is clearly the team to win the ACC in what is a pretty weak year for the ACC. And they're just on the pile of mid ACC teams as everyone waits to see if Miami is really all that good. So yeah, I'm not comfortable taking Clemson minus 16.5 against the conference foe and anyone in the ACC. So I'm going NC State. Give me the Wolfpack.
All right. For the record, guys, Jared over here.
Up, just up.
Jared, up. Jared right there. Picked NC State.
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm picking Clemson to cover. I'm picking Clemson to cover the here. NC State has some glaring issues. Has some glaring issues in this year. Thought their defense would be a little bit better, but obviously when saw that game against Tennessee, that kind of opened some eyes there a little bit. And yeah, I don't think this is going to be a close one. It's maybe if it was at in Raleigh, North Carolina, maybe it'd be closer, but nah, I'll take Clemson to cover the 16.5.
All right. What does Spikes have to say?
Just for the record, Jared picked NC State and I did not, for the record. So
okay,
let it be known.
Okay.
All right. Spikes says
Spikes. We got into his head on that one.
Yeah. Both teams rolled into ACC clash with a resume that includes a drubbing versus a top 6 team and wins over cupcakes. However, the official spread has moved up to 20.5. Has it really moved up? Has it really moved up that much? I did not look at that. Holy crap, it moved up that much. Wow. It's moved up to 20.5 in this one, as NC State will be forced to start freshman quarterback CJ Bailey due to the veteran Grayson McCall sustaining an injury last week versus LA Tech. Bailey did the second half comeback, but now he goes on the road for the first time versus a heavy blitzing defense in a difficult atmosphere. Since Vegas moved the line, I'm obviously taking Clemson to cover with the discounted spread. Sorry, Kyle, your Wolfpack are going down 27-6. You should be sorry to Jared, not to me.
Yeah, but it's your Wolfpack.
No, it's your Gophers. According to Z Spikes.
Not my Gophers. Kyle, I was inviting you to get in on that joke. When I say your Wolfpack, you say not my Wolfpack. You see, then now we each have a team that's not our team. See, it's a joke, Kyle.
You're trying to make it a thing and it's not a thing. But we move on. We move on to game number 3, which we'll cover after our first ad break here. So
the ads are so fetch.
Head on over to the sloopcast.com where you can check out all of our lovely links, such as where to access our YouTube page if you want to see our lovely faces, if you haven't already. Our Discord server. Join our Discord over at discord.sloopcast.com. It's our little chat environment here. We have a lot of fun. We showcase a lot of games. We have a lot of just a lot of fun in here. And if you want to participate at the chat that you see down here and and to support your local podcasters here, head on over to patreon.thesloopcast.com. As little as $3 a month, you can become a patron of ours and help support Jared and I to continue running this podcast here. So again, head on over to thesloopcast.com for more information. And with that being said, we'll go ahead and take this ad break and be right back.
All right, Kyle, we are back. Next up, we have USC going to Ann Arbor. USC favored by 5.5. At least that's where CBS locked it in. I'm going to ask you right now, Kyle, has this line moved yet? If I didn't already say it, this game's being played in Ann Arbor. You can find it at 3:30 on CBS.
6.
Only 1 point.
Half a point. Half a point, depending on where you're looking at.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So you picked last time.
I'm not a betting man.
I will pick this.
Sorry, you go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, I was going to say I'll pick first since you picked first for that last one here. I think I know where you're going at here, but I don't see how Michigan can really be close in this game here. Okay, they are switching quarterbacks. They're going with Orji and as their starting quarterback here. Will he be a difference maker? No, he won't. There's issues on that. There's issues on that offensive line for Michigan. There's issues on the depth on the defensive side, and you know what? I think USC might have figured out their defensive issues.
He said it.
I know it's early.
He said it.
I know it's early. It's only 2 games for USC, but this is a totally different USC team than what we've seen in the past few years. It's kind of like there's a certain coach that kind of held the team down there a little bit.
Maybe.
Do you think? Maybe.
Listen. We don't. Maybe? He's been fired. We don't gotta piss on his grave.
That's fine. But I'm going on a rant here. I'm picking the Trojans. Picking the Trojans here to defeat the team up north. So I got and to cover this 5.5. They win by more than a touchdown. I think they win by 2 scores easily this game here. So more than 10 points. Give me the Trojans.
Orji's the new quarterback. I think the Trojans will keep him covered. Keep everything safe. Give me USC.
See what you did there, Jared.
Number's too low. The number's too low.
See what you did there.
What does Spikes have to say?
He says here, the jokes write themselves.
Yeah, they do.
One, as USC brings plenty of Trojans to the orgy coming out of party in Ann Arbor. Teton is hoping to spark a flaccid offense ill-equipped to rise up to the big moments.
Spikes went next level
USC
with it.
will sure to bring plenty of protection for Miller, Moss, and company as they penetrate the dirty, cheating, stingy Team Up North defense. But with their lack of depth, the Teton defense will choke down the stretch as the runaway Trojans train pounds Teton into submission. The spread is 5.5 is a joke. Not quite 2.5 versus Texas funny, but still funny. Those cheaters up north are 0-3 against the spread this season. It's a good stat there, which tells me Vegas models haven't quite calibrated to the reality that the Wolverines are back to rich rod level of suck without their secret intel. Give me USC to cover 30-16.
After all the innuendo, you had to put rod and suck into the same sentence. Come on, Spikes.
16 is probably too much. I'm scoring 16 points. I understand it's at Michigan, but
does that matter? They're like 2 more losses away from giving away tickets with a purchase of a Pepsi. Like,
no, it's purchase 2 Pepsis for a ticket.
Oh, my bad.
Get it right.
This is the second episode in a row where I said 1 when I should have said 2. First the red lights and now the Pepsis.
Yeah. Jeez. Pick the next game. It's Utah and Oklahoma State. Jeez.
Utah, Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State's favored by 2.5. With all respect to Kansas State, who's obviously all in this conversation and who we will be talking about in a couple games, this feels like a early Big 12 decider. This is the type of game that we'll be potentially talking about in November as a tiebreaker when it comes time for the Big 12 championship game. It does feel right now like Oklahoma State, Utah, Kansas State. Maybe I should throw one more team in there, but for right now, those 3 teams feel like the front runners in the Big 12. So we're getting an early preview, maybe an early deciding game in college football, or at least in the Big 12. Vegas giving Oklahoma State just the slightest of edges. And this game is, of course, being played in Stillwater, which might be the source of that. This might be a toss-up if played on a neutral field. Heck, Utah might even be favored by a point on a neutral field. I'm going to go Utah and straight up doing it for the points. I think this is a 50-50 coin flip game, taking the underdog for the sake of taking the underdog. I think this will be a close game. This could be a game in which those 2.5 points actually end up mattering.
Yeah, no, it's completely understand. It's I think this is the game that I had the hardest time trying to pick. I guess I shouldn't really be saying I'm not doing too well with the picks this year, but yeah, it's almost a pick 'em at this point here. But I'm going off of what I've seen from who they've played, looking at how their offense and defenses have done so far here. And I'll pick the team that's had more success throwing the ball. So I'll pick the Cowboys. I'll pick the Cowboys here. So I'll pick the Cowboys to cover here. So 2.5 points. It's pretty much a pick 'em. So I'll take Oklahoma State.
Yeah, Spikes, who's down in the chat, says I'm right there with you. I think the thing that Kyle, Spikes, and I will all agree on is that this is the one you definitely don't actually put money on.
Yeah. So Z Spikes says here, easily the toughest game to call this week.
There you go.
That's all right. I'm not reading these ahead of time, Z Spikes.
Neither am I.
As it's virtually a pick'em game with the odds makers basically having it 50-50. However, we got some insider information as Utes wide receiver Dorian Singer leaked that Rising is going to play this week after missing last week with a hand injury suffered in the Baylor game, with Oklahoma State likely struggling to run the ball against a stingy Utah defense. The return of Rising, give me the Utes to cover. He has 30-27. All right, next game, Jared, we have a pair of SEC matchups here. I think this is their first. Is this their first SEC game here?
Oklahoma or
it
Tennessee?
Is Tennessee and Oklahoma. Oklahoma getting their first SEC taste here in conference. Big game here. We'll find out a lot about these two teams here. Both teams undefeated coming in coming into, I'm just confirming because sometimes I never know if this is true home game. And yep, it is in Norman here. Even though it's in Norman, they still have Tennessee as a 7.5 point favorite in this game. 7.5 point favorite. Since you picked first in the last one, Jared, I'll go ahead and go first. I'm surprised. I'm surprised it's not more. I know this. I know that it seems like every year, whenever Tennessee gets a lot of hype and has a lot of expectations that they're going to do really well, they're going to win the SEC here. I mean, from what I've seen so far, they've checked those boxes. They've dominated games they should, and there's plenty of teams so far that have not. I mean, look at Oklahoma. Oklahoma beat Houston 16-12. They beat Tulane 34-19.
And it wasn't that close.
15 points.
Tennessee. No, I'm saying if you watch that game, they didn't beat Tulsa as badly as that final score. It was a competitive game late.
Yeah. Tennessee 69-3 over Chattanooga.
Mm-hmm.
Completely dominated NC State 51-10.
Yep.
And then shut out Kent State last weekend 71-0.
Yeah.
Tennessee's got things rolling here. Unless just everything just hits the fan here and it's too much in Norman here. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think it's going to be like Ohio State rolling in the Norman and taking care of business, but I think Tennessee's going to do that and more. So give me Tennessee to cover the spread in this game.
Spike's not happy with that answer for some reason. We'll find out after you read his answer, I suppose.
I guess. Who do you got, Jared?
I'm going Oklahoma. I'm going underdog. I'm going against the grain. According to CBS, 2/3 of the picks are currently going to Tennessee. This feels like a trap. I'm saying it. This feels like a trap. I don't trust Tennessee. I trust Tennessee about as much as I trust Miami, which is not a lot. Oklahoma has not looked good so far. I don't care. I don't care. We've seen this game from Tennessee before, where they're blowing out crap teams early in the season, and then they hit an actual football team head on and crumble. I've seen Tennessee do it too many times. Now I might change my. I won't. Even if they blow out Oklahoma, I'll probably be like, well, Oklahoma wasn't that good anyway. If I'm being honest, that's probably what I'm going to do. Because again, Oklahoma is not that great. And I do expect Tennessee to win this game for the record, but I trust them as a program, not just the 2024 Volunteers, but just as a program. I trust them so little that I'm still going to go Oklahoma here.
All right. I'm pulling up Z-Spike's predictions here. Tennessee has been an absolute buzzsaw so far this season, including boat racing Kyle's Wolfpack with second-year quarterback Nico.
Kyle's Wolfpack.
Leading the high-powered Jared got me distracted here. High-powered Josh
distracted by your Wolfpack.
And making an early case for a Heisman run. Oklahoma is 3-0, but it hasn't been easy as they eked out a win versus a bad Houston team and struggled to put Tulane away last week. This game is in Norman at night. The crowd will be amped. But the last time the Sooners were at home underdog, JT Barrett went off, leading the Buckeyes to a 21-point victory. I expect similar to results in this one. Anything short of a double-digit spread doesn't scare me enough to shy away from Tennessee. Give me the Vols to cover 33-12 on the road. Wow.
All right. Next game, Kyle.
All right. Next game here is last game. is Kansas State and BYU. Like all of these final games, like there's a lot of just undefeated teams other than NC State and Clemson that we've talked about.
It's only week
all
4,
of the
buddy.
other game. I know, but still, it's 3 games. It's 3 games. All of these teams undefeated coming into week 4 here. Kansas State and BYU is a what kind of is it night game? Yeah, 10:30.
Yeah.
Hopefully you got your caffeine going here. 10:30 kickoff here. And Kansas State in this matchup is a 7.5 point favorite. Who do you have in this one, Jared?
This might be another. Maybe I don't think. I know BYU is currently undefeated. I don't think it'll last. So they're probably not in it in the same way Kansas State's in it late in the season. That being said, I'm still leaning underdog here. I'm still going against the grain here. CBS currently has 68%, over 2/3 of the people picking Kansas State on this game. So I'm going to go against the grain. I'm going to go for the underdog. I like 7.5. Honest to God, if this were 6.5, I would probably switch it up. I still expect Kansas State to win, but I'm going to take the points. I'm going to take my buffer. I feel like this could be a final drive of the game to win it type football game. Kansas State wins it by, 4 points, 5 points, 6 points, something like that. Either they get a last second touchdown or maybe BYU needs a last second touchdown, something like that. But I think it comes down to that. So I'm going to take BYU, not necessarily to win, probably not to win, but I am going to take the 7.5 points if they're being offered to me.
Okay. Well, here's the big difference in this game here. Kansas State has some playmakers. Avery Johnson has been pretty good so far here. I've been pretty accurate, 64% completion. DJ Giddens has been doing pretty well, 6.6 yards per carry so far this season. And Jace Brown, 16.4 receptions per yard. They got a lot of playmakers that they can get the ball out to. BYU, if they can just cover Jake Retzcliffe, they can just cover him, prevent him from getting out and trying to make plays. Kansas State can run away with this. So it's going to really come down to can Kansas State lock down the quarterback from being able to throw the ball, which he's been interception heavy. He's thrown 7 touchdowns and 3 interceptions, completing 60% of his passes. And he also leads the team in rushing attempts and yards for the team. So you hold him down, you're going to win the game here. I think Kansas State has that ability. I think they will be able to do that here. I've liked what I've seen here, especially last week, and when they've took care of business over Arizona, a statement of what they're able to do here. So I'm going to pick the Wildcats to cover this one.
All right. Kyle's going with the Kansas State. What does Spikes have to say?
He says BYU upsetting 13th ranked K-State. Expect K-State to have a letdown on the road after a statement win last week, and Oklahoma State on the road on the schedule next week. So this is a trap week, he is saying.
Boy, I wonder if that's going to be reflected in his chaos theory picks.
Yep.
We're going to do chaos theory, but first, just a quick note. If you're looking at the board, you can see our Ohio State picks. If you want to hear us break down Ohio State Marshall in a bit more detail, listen to the Wednesday episode. Now we're going to do chaos theory, but before we do chaos theory, we're going to take a quick ad break. You can find all of our links at thesloopcast.com. Most importantly, come join the Discord server, which is free, discord.thesloopcast.com. There is a premium section in the Discord, and there is a version of this podcast that gets posted to our Patreon that doesn't have these ad breaks in them. You still hear me talking about the ad breaks, but the actual commercials that are about to play don't play. So here are those commercials now. All right, Kyle, we're back. Let's do Chaos Theory. Do we already know Spikes' Chaos Theory?
Yeah, it is BYU. I actually read them backwards. I read what he picked for his Chaos Theory. So I'm just going to say what he mentioned for the Kansas State BYU. He said it's a Big 12 after dark, as 3-0 BYU hosts 3-0 Kansas State in another cat-on-cat nighttime fight. Wildcats put it through, beating Arizona last week, ending their nation-leading win streak. But this Wildcat team seems to have a case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Scary at home, but suspect on the road. Give me BYU to catch the Wildcats napping from their big win last week and catch them distracted with Oklahoma State looming next week. And yes, BYU outright winning 30-27.
All right. I am going with Missouri. I like Missouri this year. Don't get me wrong. I think they're a good team. That being said, I'm looking for a big swing here. I'm looking for a bit of an unexpected upset. I'm looking for some big points. Missouri currently ranked as, what are they, 7th, I believe. Lost my spot in my notes. Yeah. Currently ranked 7th. Vanderbilt's not a bad team. Not a bad team, not a good team, not a bad team, but a team that is capable in the right conditions of creating an upset. And don't get me wrong, I think this is like 15-20% at best. But with a 19-point payout, I feel like it's worth the risk. Missouri for 19 points is my Chaos Theory pick for week 4.
All right. I had a I'll be honest, Jared, I had a tough time trying to pick a team here, because there's definitely some options here. Obviously the two that we just talked about, Missouri being upset, Kansas State being upset. So there's a few games out here that you can keep your eyes out. Will NC State upset Clemson? I don't think so. Will the Red Wolves upset the Cyclones? Maybe not as much.
Here's the thing. I think there's some really, like, NC State beating Clemson is fairly decent chances, right? But with Clemson ranked 21st, is it worth, you know what I mean?
I will mention, I will say
it's only
this,
worth
though.
5 points.
I will say this though, Jared. None of us have a single point.
Yeah.
And no ranked team has lost to an unranked team. So there's no points to win anyway. So
yeah, if anyone's watching this thinking, wow, you guys suck. We've had at least 2 weeks where there wasn't a possible answer.
All the weeks, all 3.
I thought that there was in week 2. Wasn't there an upset in week 2? I thought that there was in week 2, but it was like a real.
Well, I guess if we picked week 0, that would have been like Florida State.
We didn't pick week 0 though.
Yeah, Florida State would have been week 0. So
I thought that there was 1 or 2 in week 2, but whatever. We don't need to sidetrack the show. But at the very least, in week 1 and week 3, there weren't possible answers. By our criteria, Georgia Tech lost to Clemson. That would have technically been, and they were 23rd.
Georgia Tech did lose to Syracuse.
Excuse me, Syracuse. Wrong orange team. So we haven't had, and again, in case I didn't go over this again this episode, in case this is like your first time watching, the rules of this game is you pick an unranked team to defeat a ranked team. And the points you get are the inverse of their ranking. In other words, if you pick number 1 to lose, you get 25 points. If you pick number 25 to lose, you get 1 point. And everything in between. Northern Illinois. That was the one I was thinking of.
Oh, shoot. I totally forgot about that.
That's the one I was thinking of.
Looking at all of these games, I think
Iowa State beat Iowa. See, there were a few in week 2.
Yeah. Not many points. It's not many points, but I think this is probably my best option here. You mentioned the team already, but I think Georgia Tech will get their second top 25 opponent taken down over Louisville, which would be 6 points.
They're ranked 20th?
They're ranked 19th.
Okay, then that would be 7 points.
Okay, 7 points. All right.
I have a cheat sheet up in the top right here.
All
right, that is our chaos theory. Spikes, who is our guest picker, picks Kansas State to lose, and he will get 13 points if that proves correct. Kyle's picking Louisville to lose, which is worth 7 points. I took a big swing. I'm going with a Missouri loss. I think Kyle's, it's not I looked at Kyle's. I looked at Georgia Tech beating Louisville, and ultimately I was just looking for a big swing. I think there are like NC State, I think I already mentioned, is a decent chance. I think that there are a couple decent chances. Buffalo beating Northern Illinois is an outside chance. I think there was one more I saw. Oh yeah, bowling. No, I'm kidding. That'd be fun though. Okay, maybe not. Maybe it was just those. But yeah, I think there are a couple good options, but they're all low value. I'm going big swing. If I'm going to hit on one, I want it to be at least at worth two. So big swings. All right, Kyle, that's chaos theory. That's the SlooPicks. Do you have anything in Kyle's corner?
I do. And thank you, Austin, for bringing this up here, because it was just announced just a few hours ago of us recording this, Jared. October 5th, against the Iowa Hawkeyes. Sounds like it's going to be a night game.
Yeah.
Ohio State coming out with their black jerseys.
Ayo. Gonna get some revenge.
It's not going to show up. It's not going to show up in your in the feed or in the what you're sharing here.
Yeah,
because it's just going to look like complete mess.
It kind of looks like a complete mess, even as is. Hold on, I can do a thing. Hold on, I can do a thing.
As Jared's doing a thing there. So Ohio State only posted 10.5.24 and is just a very dark room. And you can see a football player in the background there. You can't quite make it out what it is there, but yep, there you go. So I think we can.
Are we assuming this means? I mean, it's a decent assumption.
It's going to be like a blackout. I assume it's a blackout at the horseshoe.
I mean, it's a fair assumption to make. But it is assumption at this point, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, it's totally blacked out. It's a silhouette. So yeah, We're assuming. Now it's an easy assumption to make, but we are assuming. There's no official press release on this, I assume. I said assume a lot just then.
That is the only thing, is that the official Ohio State football
Hold on.
X page posted that.
Don't you. Not okay. Hold on. You want to try? You want to try a thing? Let's try a thing real quick. Then we'll end the show. We're gonna try and do a thing. Nope, that didn't help at all. Never mind. Listen, I tried turning the.
Try not to do things live.
Well, no, it's fine. I tried cranking the exposure on it, but no, it's a silhouette.
Okay.
They have a good graphics department. They wouldn't let me get away with that at Ohio State. I have done that in the past, where I've gone in there and like screwed with the raw, the camera in Adobe, what you call the camera raw settings, and found shit that I wasn't supposed to find. No, but the graphics team at Ohio State are too smart for that. Good job, graphics team at Ohio State. All right. And that was Kyle's Corner.
That's it. I think that's a big announcement.
We do like our black jerseys here. Kyle, episode 0 of this podcast, we talked about black jerseys.
And here we are.
9 years later. 9. Next year's the 10th anniversary of the Sloop.
Well,
the Sloopcast.
Technically, this is year 10 of the Sloopcast.
No, this is year 9 of the Sloopcast.
No.
First year was 2015.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore,
15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is our 10th year. We've been doing it for 9 years, but this is the 10th season, because you have the first year, which hasn't been 1 year, is season 1. If it's been 1 year, we starting season 2.
Listen.
Don't do math live. Exactly.
How do you know he's talking to me?
Not a strong point. Not a strong suit for Jared.
I think Kyle is right. Listen, to me, that if I don't remember the exact date, but I think it was like August. Let's say it was August 20th. That's close. I don't know if that's exact, but let's say August 20th, 2015 was the first episode of the Sloopcast. It was in August. Don't quote me on the exact date. August 20th, 2015. We will hit our 10-year anniversary in August of 2025. And I don't care what math you do. That is the correct way to count these things. You can take your math tricks.
But you're saying that this is the 10th season, though.
It is not.
Well, I'm going to spell it out for you, Jared.
You know what?
There you go.
I don't care.
Jared being stubborn as always. Just go ahead and end the episode, Jared.
10th birthday is what's important to me. We are only in 9. I'm right. I don't care what you say. I'm right. Tonight's ending music. Let us know in the YouTube comments who's right about this stupid argument. No, my math is good. The way you're counting is bad.
See, Spike says I'm right.
I don't care.
I love you, Z Spikes. Don't you worry.
I don't care about the math. I'm doing this like an anniversary or a birthday.
But you don't do that for seasons. You don't do that for seasons.
I don't care about the seasons. I care about the birthday.
You started off with that.
Shut up. maybe shut up. Maybe I want to do a big 10th anniversary thing, and maybe you're ruining that for me right now. Because I thought it was next year.
I think, I may be wrong, but I think I did say that it was like an episode in August of this year, 2024. And I said that this was the 10th season of the SlooPcast. You're like, yeah, woo, yeah. So I believe you did acknowledge it at one point, but I digress, and I will let you.
We will do 10
episode.
We will celebrate 10 years of the SlooPcast next year.
That is correct.
See, this is a stupid semantic argument. It doesn't matter.
You were correct there, but this is season 10.
Kyle, I swear to God, let me end the episode now. Anniversary, whatever, it doesn't matter. Besides, I need to celebrate the 10th year, and I will spend like 2 months doing the art for that. So, fuck off. Tonight's ending music is brought to you by a Columbus-based band called Slimfit. I'm so distracted right now. I want to drive to North Carolina and punch Kyle. So, with all that being said, I'd like to encourage everyone to drink local beer, listen to local music, and of course, support your local podcasters. Once again, this is Slimfit.